Well, good morning, everyone. Just to get us started today, I want to show you the kind of radar summary from last night as this very vigorous shortwave that began the week in the Pacific Northwest dove through California, adding a lot of snow to the Sierra Nevada and some snow down here into southern Arizona. Then moved into New Mexico and ejected last night into the southern part of Texas here. Now, ahead of it, we had a lot of severe weather. And this animation just shows you how potent the system is at being able to draw so much moisture up here. And a lot of these storms went ripping through with hail, strong winds, and there were a few tornado reports. Now, early this morning, as you look at the northeastern edge of this, we've already seen quite a bit of rainfall overnight right into this section of the Mid-South. And this is the area going into the Ohio River Valley, the lower and mid-Mississippi River Valley, that we are expecting to see flooding in this region today. Very, very heavy rainfall to follow what's already come through here. Storm Prediction Center last night did pick up 148 reports of severe weather, 6 tornadoes, and some large hail, a lot of 1 to 3 inch hail out of these storms that ripped through here as well. Some of the wind gusts were approaching 100 miles an hour out of this as well. So we'll see today just kind of the extent of that damage. Well, in addition to that flood threat that's going through here, we're going to watch the severe storm threat increase over parts of the Tennessee and Ohio Valley, pushing up against the Appalachian Mountains today. And so as this wave lifts towards the Great Lakes, we're going to watch, again, the risk of strong to severe storms here. SPC has really identified straight line wind damage as being the highest probability, but given the wind shear profile in this area, I think we need to be on the lookout for some of these storms being tornadic as well. So our morning all hazards weather map kind of shows this system and the one that follows it kind of playing out here. Large area of wind, including high wind warning into this area. This is all flash flood warning here. And right into this area, we've seen the models finally hone in on where the winter storm warnings should be issued. And this has been a bit of a difficult forecast all week on picking up this potential swath into here as having the heaviest snow. Following it, we do have another wave coming to California and even more snow that's going to be coming into the northern plains as the next system kind of rolls down the west coast. And we have winter storm warnings out for much of the northern mountains in California. And again, up here along the Cascades, there still is a frost warning out for parts of the San Joaquin Valley as well. So let's go look at the wind side of this first. This is from the high-res NAM. We're looking at maximum accumulated wind gusts. Now, I just want to show you how deep this low is that's currently moving toward the eastern Great Lakes here. These are synoptic scale winds. These are not winds at the thunderstorm level, but we will likely see wind gusts here up to 50 miles an hour in places throughout parts of the eastern Corn Belt, getting into the Tennessee and Ohio Valley. So we need to watch out for this very carefully today, very strong winds. If we take a look at the timing of this system, let's pick this up at 7 a.m. this morning. The most challenging part will be how quickly on the back side we get a conversion over to some snow here. I wouldn't be surprised if there are places that see no accumulation, but giant, wet, heavy snowflakes that come falling here that melt upon impact because it's just too mild. It's been too mild up to this point. Where the snow begins to accumulate is going to be very challenging. This is not, no one is going to have an accurate forecast on the snowfall amounts in this area because of the temperature profile. But notice, again, let's kind of rock that back and forth. The severe storm risk this afternoon as the main upper level front moves over parts of Kentucky and Tennessee and then presses into New England. And again, there could be some ice, a transition from rain to sleet, freezing rain, and snow on the northern side. I think maybe some of the heaviest snows might be in southern Ontario and then stretching into the interior of New England out of this system as it finally pulls through. Now behind it, we're going to watch, again, a wave in the west break up into two pieces. There's a lead wave that kind of moves out into parts of Montana and into North Dakota. This is going to be on Sunday morning. And we're going to add some more snow to parts of the upper Midwest. We're going to add more snow to the northern plains. And again, as you just saw, another system sliding along the west coast here. See it right there. And this is why we have the winter storm warnings out for California right now. Now, I'm going to immediately jump over to the comparison of the GFS to the European because I want to see where these systems go from here. And then we'll look at some of the rain and snowfall totals. So you notice that if I just park it here 6 p.m. tonight, this is where the GFS has got the heavy snow. It's actually lined up pretty well with the European finally. I mean, all week long we watched them separate. We're going to move this into New England here. And it'll be a very challenging forecast as to where this rain snow line is going to be, even overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. We're going to have to nowcast this and watch where that rain snow line is going to be. So that system moves through New England. We'll take a look at the snowfall totals in a moment. And the next one comes into the west. Now, as we talked about, there'll be a piece that on Sunday breaks out and comes into Montana, North, South Dakota, Minnesota. It is in both models. But you're going to watch this low just continue to deliver more snow into California as that weaker wave moves through the eastern Great Lakes and possibly drags a front down here through the Appalachian Mountains into the southeast for some scattered rain. But there will be some accumulating snow in the Midwest this weekend, and the Northern Plains, and quite a bit more being added into California, Northern California. Then as we play into next week, this will be the bigger unknown. If you watched my in-depth report last night, remember the models were really off on this. Now the GFS has kind of come into better alignment with the European, showing a system by next Thursday developing down here in the Southern Plains. It does appear that this could be a snowmaker from Colorado to Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri. It's showing up in both models, but they still resolve it differently as we go out here to about a week from now. You notice that the European model is playing on this very strong high pressure cell, pushing a lot of cold air behind this, but with an open Gulf and a pretty vigorous shortwave coming out here, it's going to produce a big system. And that system could eventually make its way into New England. Now notice the difference. Where did the GFS shove this thing? Way offshore. The European is trying to actually blow up our first, what could be significant northeastern U.S. snow system. And there's a lot of ensemble support for it too. I just want to point out, though, this isn't slowing down for the Northwest or California after this goes through as well. We're going to take a look at that and again in a few seconds. So if I put together the next 10 days, we're kind of identifying that wet corridor. And it's right in through here. Drier in the Canadian Prairie. This is the second system coming out on Sunday. And the GFS has this band of heavier precip a bit farther to the south than the European does. But overall, the Pacific jet stream still has decent momentum in it, and it will be shifting farther to the south as we get into the middle of the month of March. So again, the next 10 days. Wettest areas, this is the next 10 days of getting at least an inch of liquid out of this. We can step it up to 2 inches. Again, a lot of this coming right now, but then with the following system next week, and a probability of 4 inches of liquid in this. So this is why the flood threat is so high in this area with the current system, plus there's already a lot of saturated ground down here. Now the snowfall side of it, we can kind of take a national view here of this. This is where the European model is putting down snow through, let's stop it here at Sunday midday. Now remember, even though you see large snowfall totals here, it's how much this accumulates on the ground. This is just the model kicking out a 10-to-1 ratio on where it says there's going to be snow. So I wouldn't look at this and assume that we're going to be way up here in these snowfall totals. This is just how much liquid there is, how much of it we think is going to fall as snow, but the ground will ultimately determine how much this accumulates. Let's just identify this area as the place we got to watch into New England. Now already that next wave is moving into the west. We can see heavy coastal snow here and then snow in the Sierra Nevada, possibly another 6 to 24 inches of snow in place. And then the models are now showing this area in through here. Remember, we make the color bar distinction at 4 inches. So we're going to watch for more snow right in through this corridor, a place that's already got quite a bit of snow on the ground. Now, we're going to go ahead and play this out past midweek next week because I just want you to see what the models are attempting to do with that next system. So a lot coming into the west, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, coming back through the eastern Corn Belt. If this did occur, and again, we'll look for some support, this would be some of the first snow in this area for the most part all winter. And so we're going to have to watch for it. Is there ensemble support? Kind of. This is going out there next Thursday. What we're doing here is we're looking at where the model, the European model and its ensemble, there's 51 members, where they're placing low pressure. And so you can kind of see there's a large area in through here. This is why there's a big spread on this next system. But what the models do capture is that by next Saturday, that's pretty good agreement that there will be a system that will be impacting the Northeast. So that's in the European model. And there's plenty of high pressure behind this. What is preventing it from being a true nor'easter is the high pressures here and not over there. But still impressive to see that going into, this is out there, day 9 forecast, all the way out to next Friday into Saturday. Now, the upper level flow, this is the wave that could do it. Watch it dive through the Midwest, deepening, and then it ends up showing up right here. There's some high latitude blocking. That's important for this. A little bit of weak ridging in the west, so the flow's kind of coming around and then diving into this. But that also means we're going to start to move quite a bit of that colder air across the country that's been embedded in the western United States for a while. So if we just said who's getting some snow, this is a 15-day forecast. I'm just looking at the probability over the next 15 days of getting 3 inches of snow. And what you notice is that line's creeping farther to the south simply because of the cold air that's coming. Here's the chance of getting, got a new model run that just came in when I started recording. So let's go back to the 0Z, stretch it out to 15 days. There you go. This is the probability of 6 inches. And here's the probability of a foot. And now we'll go up to 18 inches. And most of this is really going to be in the interior of New England. And then, of course, in the western mountains here, the Sierra Nevada and Cascades. And we might be able to add in the next, next couple of weeks, another 2, 3, 4 feet of snow in the Sierra Nevada. And that is an area that is just packed with snow. Take a look at this. I put this in the report today. This is February 28th, 2022 snowpack. And this is what it looks like right now. And I linked in the report the NRCS data. You can go ahead and have a look at it. But it's 170 to 300% of normal snowpack right now. And there's up to 70 inches of liquid in this snow that's in the Sierra Nevada. Now, if we look at snow water equivalent a year ago on March the 3rd, this is what the map looked like. Okay, snow water equivalent a year ago. This is what it looks like this year. Again, last year at this time versus this year. What a difference. And we're suggesting more is coming into this area as we go into the middle part of March. Our frost map, this is important. We do have very cold air still in the west, so there's a frost in the Central Valley of California. You notice that the southeast is still hanging on. This will change because the way that this cold air is advancing, we'll be able to bring that frost line pretty far to the south here in addition to some very wet weather. So let's go ahead and have a look at those 5-day sliding window of temperature anomalies. And as we play ourselves into the second week of March, toward the middle of March here, we can see that that colder air is getting let out. And maybe a bit more near normal temperatures for the Pacific Northwest as some weak ridging comes in, but that'll displace quite a bit of cold air into the Central Plains, Midwest, down into the Southeast, where we could see temperatures up to 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit colder than normal for a stretch of days. Now, this has been echoed in the European weeklies for a while, and in my in-depth report last night, we dived deep into this, and I just want to show it to you again. I think there's really strong signals for what you see here. A lot is changing. The La Nina out, it's let go. The westerly winds across the Pacific are there. The MJO transition, whether a true MJO transition or just a movement of some of that convection. But I buy into this a lot. I think that by the 4th week of March, it will moderate. There's going to be changes in this. But especially through the next 3 weeks, I think this is going to be the pattern we see. So let's go down to South America quickly. I just want to show you for Cordoba, one of the main growing areas in Argentina. They reached a peak in their drought severity, of course, before the rains came in late January, but it has not fallen off much. And it's the greatest extent of drought area going back all the way to 2017 and before. So the problem is over the next 10 days, that area remains dry in the models. So the latest runs come out dry while the flooding threat continues for central Brazil. This is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. This crop needs to get out and safrinha planted, and it's happening very slowly due to the excessive rainfall. Notice too that in the next 10 days, Mato Grosso, which has a freshly planted safrinha crop, is expected to be wetter. The temperatures down here are expected to be hot as well, but I want to give you a kind of a full global view on those temperatures. So we're looking at temperatures possibly 10, 12 degrees Fahrenheit above average. But I really wanted you to note how warm things are throughout Asia. I think this is important to helping us determine the duration of this colder air that's been displaced here into the western side of North America and its duration as it moves to the east. That's why I think it may not be until probably the 4th week of March before we start to see some moderation in this. So we'll keep an eye on it this weekend, look for some model trends, and we'll talk again on Monday. I appreciate your attention. Thanks.